is up, tube users? I am the stereotypical gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are talking about Warhammer Vermintide 2. Now, I am not really familiar with the Warhammer series at all. This is really the only game that I've played in the entire Warhammer series, and I just got it just because it was on sale for a good price, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll try this out. I've heard of Warhammer. I know that their games are pretty fun, and lo and behold, this game is pretty fun. The best way I can describe it is the gameplay just kind of feels like a medieval Left 4 Dead, where you're just kind of going through these campaign missions of doing certain objectives, and there's like an overarching story through like a set of missions and stuff like that. And so I really enjoy that aspect. You know, you have like your special like zombies or whatever that you'll fight against, and then usually the mission ends with a boss fight or something like that. And I just love how simplistic the gameplay is, but then you get into the complexities of just like different upgrades you can get for weapons and different styles of gameplay that you can get from different weapons and stuff like that. And it's really fleshed out in that way. But just going out the gameplay, because I don't really have much going into the like harder difficulties or anything like that, just the gameplay itself is really fun. And the stories, it's kind of hard to follow while you're in game of like kind of what's happening, but you kind of get an overall story of things, and I love that it's like a progressive campaign for a set of missions. I really enjoy that. And I really love the mix of melee and ranged combat in this game. Basically, I think it works the same for each character. Each character has like different weapons and stuff they use and different abilities that make them unique, but I believe each character has a melee weapon, which is like your primary weapon, doesn't consume any ammo and stuff like that, and then you have a ranged weapon, which is kind of like a power weapon that consumes ammo, and you have to fetch for ammo during the missions in order to reload it and stuff like that. And I really love that dynamic of melee versus range. While it does feel a little like spam clicky at times when you're in melee combat just cleaving a bunch of enemies down, you do get that kind of bloodlust feel when you see like the blood splatters all over your screen when you're cleaving down, and the animation of just like chopping enemies' heads off and limbs is really well done. You really get into the bloodlust feel of things when you're cleaving down a lot of enemies. And I love how simplistic the missions are and just kind of the stuff that you can do. It is somewhat open. It's not like a full open world, but the missions are somewhat open. There's different like secret pathways that will unlock different secrets that will give you better rewards and stuff at the end of the missions, which is really cool. And then you just really have only two consumables that you'll find. You'll have like a healing consumable and then like a attack consumable, and there's different ones that you'll find throughout the mission and stuff like that. And so it's just really basic, and that's it. You have your melee attack, you have a ranged attack, and then you have these two consumables. And I believe that, I mean, you have like a block and stuff like that, but that's it in terms of just how things work, and it just makes it really simple. And while you can get more complex with higher difficulties and like different builds for different characters and stuff like that, I just love that, like, just as a gamer, I can get into this and fully understand how everything works without having to like go through a whole bunch of tutorials for things. And typically, I'm not a huge fan of just melee combat in games. I typically stick to my first-person shooters and stuff like that, but I really do love the melee combat in this game. I love the cleave of multiple enemies, the animations you get for slicing down enemies, but when you get even more precise, I really love how precise the blocking is. You can just do like a quick block. It's not like a slow hold up your shield. You can only attack or pair or block and stuff like that. It's simplistic enough that it's easy to just kind of understand without having to go through tutorials, but it does have depth to it, which is nice. But I think one of the problems with this game is the overwhelming amount of DLCs and microtransactions there are in this game is kind of a turnoff, and especially for me, I do not like microtransactions in games and stuff like that. And DLCs are typically fine if they offer like a good amount of content for the price of it, but right now I just own the base game of Warhammer Vermintide 2, and that alone is going for $1.50, which is just an absolute steal. You have a lot of campaign missions that the base game offers. There's a lot of just different things that you can do with the base game, and really I haven't run into anything that's like stopped me from doing stuff. Obviously there's like campaign missions that are locked behind DLCs and stuff like that, but overall the amount of content that the base game offers, and especially for the price that it's at right now, is overwhelming and an absolute steal for the price. Because when it comes down to it, the just gameplay overall is so enjoyable. I love that Left 4 Dead style of gameplay of just going through a few campaign missions, 10 to 20 minutes each, that have an overarching story that takes an hour long to finish, and just going through these missions, simplistic enough that you're just mowing down enemies and stuff like that, but it's always so satisfying, and especially with the animations for killing in this game, it is a lot of fun to just go on a blood rampage. But even though I haven't gotten many hours into this, so I can't give it a full critique, there are some bad elements that I dislike about this game, so let's get into those. I think the main thing that I dislike about this game is the loot box kind of upgrade system you have for different weapons and armors. So basically how it works, at the end of a mission, you'll get a chest that, depending on like what you did, if you collected all the secrets and stuff like that in the mission, you'll get it upgraded, which is cool. I like that you have this sort of upgrade for the base stuff that you get, but then you also have these challenges that will give you these boxes and stuff like that if you've completed them, and it's all very loot boxy. You open these boxes, you get 3 random things, and they have random rarities, and I don't think you can actually buy them with real money, which is nice, but I just don't like this system as a whole. It feels microtransaction-y, and I don't like just leaving these upgrades up to chance. I know you can, I don't know if you can upgrade weapons, but I know you can craft weapons, so there's a way of getting them without going through this chance loot box system, but I'm not fully versed in how the crafting system works in this game. The only other thing that I really dislike about this game is the overwhelming amount of DLCs that are attached to this game. There's a lot of them that offer a lot of cool things. You know, there's ones that have more campaign missions, and which the campaign missions are really fun. There's ones that like offer, I think, new classes and stuff like that, which would be interesting. But there are so many that it's just hard to figure out which ones are relevant. Obviously, you can get them in bundles and stuff like that, but there's so many. Like, just getting a bundle, you get so many different DLCs that some have some really cool stuff with different characters and stuff like that, but some are just like cosmetics. So just going through it all, it just seems way too overwhelming to get a full bundle, and I don't really want to cycle through each and every DLC to see which ones I would want and which ones I don't. And so, I mean, just because of the overwhelming amount is kind of a reason that I'm deterred away from buying DLCs for this game. But I mean, that's it as far as the bad in this game, and I wouldn't even say the bad aspects are that bad. You can kind of just ignore the DLC aspects. There are some parts where obviously you're locked behind certain things and you can't unlock certain things because they're a part of the DLC, but overall I haven't found it that annoying. Obviously it does kind of feel scummy to have this like loot box system for upgrades, but I haven't found any sort of way to like purchase things that I would want in the game and stuff like that, so I haven't found any real money things, and everything that I've found can be unlocked through actually playing the game, which is really nice, and the game is fun, so you know, that's just another plus there. So you have all these systems to upgrade in the game that I don't have to pay for, and I get to play a fun game. It's just a bonus on top of a bonus, which is really nice, and it's really well done how this game does it. And I love the simplicity of the gameplay in this game. Obviously, it probably gets more complex with the higher difficulties, but overall, I love that I was able to understand each of the gameplay aspects of this game without having to like read a tutorial or play through a tutorial mission to understand this. It was really straightforward and just kind of easy to understand. Obviously it may be confusing for like a first-time gamer and stuff like that, but as someone who's played games for a while and has played like through kind of like Left 4 Dead-esque games, I understand the kind of basics of it, and they do a really good job of just kind of giving you visualizations of how each of the different aspects of the game work. Of course, since this is a Warhammer game, there is an extensive lore library just to this game and the overall universe. I really do enjoy just kind of the storytelling that they have through each mission, kind of like what we're doing, and kind of get like some of the backstory of the characters through dialogue in the missions, which is really cool. So I love the overall storytelling and just how much there is of it. There's a lot of like different like collectibles and stuff to read and stuff like that, and just kind of the overarching story of how everything goes through each mission is really fun to delve into. But that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.